Do multiple bids actually lead to a better project? Find out how you can get the best outcome and most value on your project by finding a partner you can trust, evaluating their design capabilities, and ensuring that their bid is comprehensive. Join us to learn more. I'm Donnie Bronner, owner and CEO at Paragon 360, and I'm joined today by Ryan Cowan, president here at Paragon, and Jeff Pavlik, one of our client representatives. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks for joining me.
It's a pleasure to be here, Donnie.
So I kind of want to jump into this topic. Do multiple bids actually lead to a better project at the end of the day?
Well, Donnie, it's a necessary step for a lot of our church clients. We see it on a regular basis because a lot of church bylaws require multiple bids. And we respect the fiduciary responsibility that leadership has in those cases. The approach works pretty well when you're talking about commodities, things like cleaning or office supplies. But there are inherent issues with the approach when you're talking about things like high quality integrated worship technology systems. It's just not like it was 15 years ago. All you needed back then was a mic, some speakers, maybe a projector to put some words up on a screen. But today more than ever, congregations are relying on these technologies for their worship experiences. Just consider how essential streaming is nowadays, especially over the last 2 years. Impactful Sunday morning services require an entirely new tool set. These modern systems must be integrated well, and that means real design.
There's a saying among the better AVL integrators that they want to sell a church their last sound system. And that's because, oddly as it seems, most churches buy 2 to 3 systems before they wind up with one that works well enough to meet their needs. This happens because their first inclination is to go with the lowest bid. But if that system isn't designed and integrated correctly, they wind up with the wrong equipment in the wrong spot, and they have to start all over. Where is the stewardship in that?
Exactly right, JP. We see that every week.
You know, the real unfortunate side of that is that the whole purpose of getting 3 or 4 bids is designed to ensure that the church doesn't get taken advantage of on price. But when it doesn't get done right, it's not the right system for the room, or it's not installed correctly, they spend all that money that they would have saved on the lowest bid all over again. Whatever the delta is between the original bid and this, it's completely irrelevant now.
Okay, the first thing to look for is to make sure you're dealing with a reputable firm that is not going to take advantage of you. In today's environment, it's really easy to study a firm's reputation. The good ones are going to have references, testimonial videos. They're going to have a track record of long-standing relationships. The most important thing is to find a firm that you can really trust.
Yeah, and after you know their reputation, then you really need to consider the design expertise. There's just not a lot of firms left out there doing real design work at the end of the day. Many of the firms are, even some of the larger ones, are using copy and paste package designs, or they're having manufacturers do the design work for them. Integrated design makes such a difference in the end product and whether or not it specifically meets the client's needs. I always say it's easier to get it wrong than it is to get it right.
Yeah, Donnie, and you know they say, if you think paying for design work is expensive, wait until you see what free design work costs you.
It's absolutely true. I mean, we have a couple of small competitors that offer free design daily, and that can be intriguing, but we've seen the other side of that, where we've been hired to go in and fix issues that weren't correct in spaces that they've designed. It's just such a flawed concept. If your work is worth something, then charge for it. And I think our designers are just the best of the best, but we don't give their time away to anyone. But they get it right, and there's money and time savings in getting it right the first time.
If the design services aren't specifically accounted for in the bid, chances are they're charging you for it by burying it elsewhere in the proposal. Worst case scenario, they're not really doing any design work for you at all.
JP, to be honest, for most of those guys, it's really not about getting it right. They're just trying to sell gear. For a lot of the low bid firms in particular, it's more about equipment sales, which that focuses on things like specifications and watts and aspect ratios, all of those sort of things. But there couldn't be a more incorrect approach if you're worried about getting this right.
Yeah, I think you're correct. Your partner should be seeking to find the right system for the room at the right price point that meets your objectives, not just trying to sell you a system because that's the biggest rebate they're going to get from a brand they carry or whatever they need to move out of inventory that month.
You also need to make sure that the bid is comprehensive. The strategy for the vendors doing that low bid work is to price it low by cutting everything out of it that actually adds value. Then as soon as they get into the project, the blame game starts. You know, blame the designer, blame the contractor, blame the architect, the building, whatever. else they can find. I mean, they have a whole book of excuses prepared. They stand behind the, you didn't pay for that. And that's really when the change orders fly, right? I mean, and those change orders are going to come through at a much higher margin than what that initial bid was actually built at.
Well, I'm sure you guys have seen the picture of the two boats, right? You got the little dinghy that's named original contract, and there's a yacht sitting behind it. It's called change order, right? Change order is a pretty nice boat. And of course it's meant to be funny, but the sad reality is it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, you're on point, Ryan. That's the game, and the client never wins. However, this whole charade is based on more than a bit of willful ignorance on either side of the table. The integrator is working hard to sell the project by recovering more revenue through change orders, and the client feels that their stewardship is completed by obtaining the lowest possible bid at the outset. In reality, the integrator is a whole list of things that can be used as excuses as to why something wasn't in the original numbers.
Well, this goes back to trust. I mean, it's my experience that a solid long-term client wants their vendors to be healthy and be around forever to support them when they need it. Experienced clients understand this and don't expect their vendors to lose money to get their business. We want to do work with people that we can form relationships with, that we can work together as a team, and we can do great things together. We want to be able to take care of them for 10, 15, 20 years, like the majority of our client base. Long-standing relationships are almost impossible to maintain unless you're taking care of people.
Yeah, Donnie, I think JP said it best. Find someone who's got a great reputation, does quality work, and then hire them. Pay them well to do what they do, and they're going to take care of you. It'll be the right system for the space. You won't have to do it twice, and you won't have to keep messing with it for years to come. And best of all, you won't have to have that painful conversation years down the road of, yeah, it was the wrong thing for the space, and now we have to do it all over again. But the good news is we saved 8% on the first bid.
Yeah, exactly, and that's so true. I mean, at the end of the day, I hope the client is buying experience and track record. The way I see it, I'm not paying the cardiologist for the 30 minutes it takes to change the valve. I'm paying for that 36 years of experience and his track record of getting it right. Because I can't afford to miss. And I can tell you, in this day and age, these churches can't afford to miss either. They need to be partnering with someone who has the track record of getting it right the first time.
Absolutely.
So, gentlemen, thank you for your input today. This was fantastic. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Tony.
And thank you for joining us on this edition of Full Circle. For more insights, go to paragon360.com or subscribe on YouTube.